Okay, so here the diagram illustrates the process of lithography, a method used for printing newspapers. Summarize information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where necessary. Write at least 150 words. Okay, 150 words. Don't try to write too much. Okay. And here's the process. You see everything there. We have dampening rollers, ink rollers, paper, impression cylinder, blanket cylinder, cold and hot dryers, printed image. Yeah. What does the blanket cylinder do, right? Then you can someone explain that to me? What does it do? Now let's try to go step by step. First of all, the dampening roller, what does it do?
Dampening roller make paper wet. Ink.
Give ink or wet? Oh, ink?
It delivery ink.
Dampening rollers deliver ink. But we already have ink rollers, right?
That means when the paper go there, then it will be on the paper.
So when the paper go there, then the ink will be on the paper.
And be on the home paper.
On the home paper. Okay.
It will be wet.
Will be wet. Okay, now someone else please. I think this diagram actually it is missing something.
Missing what?
I don't know why they don't have something like breastplate or something here.
That's right.
Because without the breastplate, this system doesn't work.
Wow,
Probably they should write, they try like okay that kind of the system, but I think they need to add something more here.
I think the impression cylinder that work like the press books.
Yeah, impression cylinder. Like the name, it's pressing something, right? Pressing what?
The
paper.
The paper, yes. Pressing the paper. Now, can someone tell me the differences between dampening rollers and ink rollers? There's no way. Why should we have both of them?
The dampening roller it makes the ink more smooth and flatter on the rollers. I think.
What does that mean?
Yeah, dampening. What does that mean? Dampening rollers, just dampening.
Smash or
No, not smashing. We don't.
No,
we-
I don't mean smashing. How to say the word? Like it make it smooth the ink.
Okay, make it smoother. Okay, can someone else please?
Like the ink not gonna be have something tiny inside that it crush it.
Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah, just give your ideas. Fine. Yes, go on.
So the smaller ink that have like it make ink qualities more higher something.
Okay.
Maybe they make the paper more smoother. Now to
Someone else, please. How do you understand this? Please explain everything to me.
don't ask me, I'm
Someone else, please. Okay, whatever you understand. Because first of all, remember all the step we did last time, guys. Step number 1. Before describing a diagram, what should we do? What is the first step? Tell me. Yes, you have to study the diagram carefully. although the task is not testing your knowledge on the subject, your interpretation of the diagram needs to be accurate. Okay, look at exercise 12 we did yesterday. You see that? That is step 1. We try to understand everything in the diagram. If we don't understand something there, then we will be in big trouble. So we see ink rollers, it should be something related to ink, right? And dampening rollers, do you understand the meaning of the word dampening? I mean making it something wet. Dampening, I mean making something wet. Okay? Paper, you know paper, yeah, it's very clear. Impression cylinder. Impression cylinder, Manori said that, right? It's like we try to press something, right? Impression cylinder, we try to press something, and in this case, Sob said that, yeah, we press the paper.
The ink on the papers.
Yeah, it press the yeah, something there. The paper, the ink on the paper. How about blanket cylinder? What do you think what it does?
It makes the paper not going. No, it makes the gray thing here. I not remember how to say. Like it it's like something it delivery the paper.
Deliver the paper?
Another process. So the blanket cylinder make the thing that run on.
Like the paper move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, it's not gonna be forced down.
Okay. Alright. Tự, what do you think? Yeah, okay, thank you. Tự, what do you think? What do you think the blanket cylinder does?
The blanket cylinder takes the ink and transfer the ink to the paper and make it more soft, and through the impression cylinder express the image to the paper, to the more stick for the image more stick to paper.
Yes, that makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah, so the blanket cylinder, it will get the image first. Okay? And then the paper will go in between the blanket cylinder and the impression cylinder, and both of them will press the paper in between. What they do is to try to transfer the image from the blanket cylinder to the paper. Okay? Like something when both of them roll and the paper run in between those two, they press the image from the blanket cylinder into the paper. Okay? Now tell me something about cold and hot dryers. What do you think? What do they do? Tell me.
Maybe they help the paper to be warmer.
Yeah.
Or
You see they use the word dryers, right?
yes, like when the ink get on the paper,
Uh-huh.
and then they get through the impression cylinder,
Mm-hmm.
and when they go to the dryers,
Mm.
then they will be pulled down and be dry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of thing. 'Kay. We use the hot and cold dryers. Of course, we want to dry the paper, right? We want to dry the paper. Like now we want to have a newspaper. We cannot have a wet newspaper, right? We need a dry newspaper. Can someone tell me exactly, like, for example, if I say hot dryer, what do you think it does?
It makes the ink dry, then the
How?
dry.
How?
By the
It
hot-
used by
yeah.
heat.
By hot air. How? What?
Hot dryer is mean we dry it by the hot air.
We dry it by hot air.
Yeah.
Of course, it should be hot, right?
Yeah.
You know that something, why something is wet?
No.
Just have water.
Yeah, because it has some kind of water inside, or some kind of liquid inside, right? And hot dryer is something they are there just to make sure that that kind of water or liquid, or we call it solvents, will be evaporated. Do you know evaporated?
No.
Evaporated, that means first it's from the
Change to liquid to gas.
yes, that's right. It transforms the liquid form to the gas form. Okay, so first of all, like you have water, you evaporate it. That means the water will go to the air and leaving the substance, in this case the paper, dry. You understand? First the paper has kind of liquid water, or in this case we have to call a solvent, because that is a mixture of many things. Okay, we don't say water because water should be water only, right? But normally this is kind of the process. So of course they use water and some chemicals, so we call it solvent. It's kind of mixture of things there, water and some chemicals there. And then when we try to evaporate the solvent there, okay, then we leave the paper dry. But at this stage, it's still hot, right? So what should we do next? Yeah, we need the cold dryers, of course, because it's so hot. You want to yeah, we want a hot bread, but we want hot bread, but we don't want hot newspapers, right? So we need cold dryers. Yeah. Yeah, we need cold dryers, and of course it will try to cool down. It will try to cool down the sheet, the newspaper, the sheet. Okay, it cool down, and also make sure it doesn't stick with something else, because you know that they will print millions of papers each time, right? And they don't want them to stick together.
Dryer maybe keep the paper not bent, because if you
Yeah, can be.
you have pour water on the paper, then you dry it got bent.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, and then we have to cool it down very quickly. Okay. So basically, hot dryer will make sure that that they use heat to evaporate solvents. Okay, they use heat to evaporate solvents, and then they use the cold dryer just to cool down the sheet. Yeah, just to make sure that they don't stick with each other. Yeah, things like that. And then what do we have? Oh, printed image. Yeah, we have the printed image go through the cold and hot dryers. See that? And of course, in the end, they will be cut into pieces. Yeah, they will be cut into pieces, and then they make some kind of a pile, and we call it the delivery pile. In the end, got it? A pile, I mean, like here, I even have one book. It's not a pile, but they put many books on top of each other and have a pile of books. Một chồng. Yeah, một chồng. Okay, so we understand most of the parts already. Now, I need some kind of better explanation for the dampening rollers and ink rollers. And this is very interesting. And that's why I said it's mixing something very important here. But first of all, guys, for the introduction, normally what should we write for the introduction? No, we don't need to say today I want to explain something. No. What should we write? First of all, we have to say that the diagram illustrates something, right? The diagram illustrates a method called lithography, a process used for printing newspapers. That's what we know. And actually, I think it I don't know, it is challenging us, or is missing something, because it cannot go like this. First of all, you need something we call a breastplate. I don't know why they don't put a breastplate here. Guys, a breastplate is like a plate like this. Aluminium plate. It's not a dish for eating things. It's a thin one. It's a thin aluminium plate with this kind of image here or text here like this. You understand? And then I will put that in the system to print millions of them. You understand? So first I need a thin aluminium plate with the contents. Got it? Yeah, I don't know why I don't have that.
Maybe the Russian but cylinder.
Okay, so you put that one in that kind of machine or the system. And then what? What happens with that breastplate? You know? Here I have a breastplate like this. I put it in. What happened?
Maybe
How can it be printed? How can it be printed? Tell me. So first, that's why we need a dampening rollers. Dampening rollers. What do you think it do? Because according to the name, it makes this one wet, right? How can it make it wet? By transferring what into this, onto the surface.
the ink.
Not the ink. We have the ink rollers, right? We don't need the dampening rollers to put the ink. Why we already have the ink rollers? Ink rollers must be the one which will add ink to the plate. So here's the kind of the genius thing. The dampening rollers will add water and chemicals there. Maybe something like oil, water, things like that. A mixture of things onto the plate, and we will make sure that here, guys, you have some kind of some image, text or something here, right? So it will make sure that some area can later on, when it goes through the ink rollers, it can collect the ink, and some other part make sure that the ink cannot get in. That's the hard part. You understand? Because you don't want ink everywhere, right? Like for example, like this page, you see here we need the text, but here we need empty, a blank area. We don't want ink everywhere, right? So we put it in, and the dampening rollers will make sure that will make it wet, but the area where they need the ink will be attached with difficult chemicals things, and the blank area will be attached with different things. And the area where we want ink to get in will be attached with something else to attract ink later on. And the area which don't need ink, they make sure that they will be covered with something to avoid ink to attach. You understand? That's the genius thing here. How can they do that?
I got 200 IQ.
Yeah. How can they do that? It's really smart, right?
By Nicola.
So first of all, let's say, okay, if we use the right words for this, we have non-printing areas and we also have printing areas.
No.
Guys, the one with the text or the image, we call it printing areas. And the one with nothing, we call it non-printing area. You understand? So when we put that breastplate through the dampening rollers, it will make sure that it will add a thin layer of water. It will add a thin layer of water onto the plate. And at this stage, the water will stick to the non-printing area. And so they will not accept ink. So that means ink cannot attach to this area. That's the function of the dampening rollers. It will add water onto the non-printing area. Okay. So next, the press plate will go through the ink rollers, right? And at this stage, of course, they will add ink. So now they will make sure that the ink only stick to the image areas. Okay. So that's the process. So that's why here when they describe, they say the plate is passed through dampening rollers which provide a mixture of water and chemicals. This is to dampen the non-image areas or non-printing area. You understand? That will dampen or add water there on that surface. And then secondly, the plate passes through a set of ink rollers in order for the ink to stick to the image area. You understand? Yeah? So dampening rollers is used for the non-image areas. Just add a layer of water to make sure that ink won't be attacked. Okay? And the ink rollers will make sure that the ink will get to the image area. Yeah? Ink roller get to the image area, the printing area, and dampening roller will get to the non-printing area. Yeah? Next, what's next? And then the plate goes through what? Then the plate goes through the blanket cylinder. So it first goes through the dampening rollers, and then the ink rollers, and then it goes through the blanket cylinder. What does it do? Normally, I can tell you that it has kind of rubber coated air. This is a kind of rubber coated plate. It has rubber outside. You know rubber?
Yeah.
Cao su hay gì vậy?
Yes.
Hả? So the plate, guys, the plate cylinder, the plate, the press plate. Now it goes through the blanket cylinder down there, and that blanket cylinder, we can say that is a rubber coated roller. And the ink from the plate is transferred to the rubber blanket. You understand? Guys, the plate, first we have a plate, and then we go through dampening rollers to make this, to keep this with water, make sure no ink can get in the non-printing area, and we go through the ink rollers just to make sure that the ink will get through this area, the printing or the image area. And now after those two rollers, we have a very good one, a good plate like this with image on the plate. And now that plate goes through to the blanket cylinder, and that is a rubber coated cylinder. I mean, it has rubber cover the whole cylinder. Okay? And now that kind of image or the ink will attach to the blanket cylinder. So the whole image here will be transferred to the blanket cylinder. You understand? Because if you try to add ink here and then you attach ink on another thing, then that kind of ink will be transferred to that. You understand? So in that blanket cylinder, now you have the whole image of what you want to print. And then you transfer the paper through this and then you use the impression cylinder here to press. To press, and now the paper go in between the blanket cylinder and the impression cylinder, and now the blanket cylinder will transfer the image to the paper. And after that process, the paper has the image. Okay? And then finally, it's easy. The image go through the cold and hot dryers to make sure it is dry. So that's the entire process. Yes, a very complicated process. I'm very impressed because the way they can do something with the dampening rollers and ink rollers. Genius kind of mixture of chemicals in water, guys. At first, I thought they should have two sides, guys. I thought they should have two sides, like the one will attach the ink, and the other one only attach water or something. But no, all of them only on one plate, one side. They can separate that. It's really good, right? Because now if you drop ink on your paper, it will spread everywhere, right? But how can they make sure that, okay, the dampening area will make sure that the ink can only get into the right place, it doesn't get to the other place? You understand? Great. Okay, so that's the entire process. And then, okay, here they say that thirdly, the plate goes through the blanket cylinder. This is to squeeze out the water. You understand? Squeeze out the water. Yeah, you remember the plate is very wet, right? The plate is really, really wet. And then it goes through the blanket cylinder. This to squeeze out the water. Make it dry a little. Okay? And the ink image area is picked up, or it is transferred to that blanket cylinder. Okay? Finally, the plate passes through the impression cylinder. The paper then runs between the impression cylinder and blanket cylinder, pressing the image onto the paper. See that? After that, the paper is dry with hot and cold air and put on the delivery part. Okay? Done. That is the process. So in the end, you need to write an overview or overall, right? Summary of everything. So overall, the diagram shows that there are 4 sets of rollers used before the image is transferred onto paper. Okay? You just make a kind of a short summary like that, or short overview like that. Okay, guys? Yeah? So now you understand that completely. Please write it yourself. Do it. Do it. Understanding is one thing, you need to do it yourself, right? Write it. So, because you don't know what to write, so that's why I asked you to write it. That's the best way to learn, right? I think they should add something like the breastplate to something there. Otherwise, it's really hard to understand. What? Go, do it. First, okay, very good. You don't know what to write, but first of all, you need to start with the introduction. Yeah. Right? No, not today. I want to say something. No, you start with something like here. Oh, okay, guys. The teaching here. Use useful phrases for process task. You say the diagram or the flow chart illustrates or shows something, right?
Yeah.
Now you write. The first thing you need to write. The diagram illustrates something or shows something. Do it. Right now. Now. we need to practice the process, okay? First of all, we try to understand the diagram. The second step, we have to ask like, oh, how many stages are there? Okay? Are the stages in a particular order, or do some stages take place at the same time? Something like that. No, you're right. Yes, the first thing you need to write the diagram, and then you use the word illustrates, or shows, or demonstrates, or provides information, something like that. Illustrates. Shows? You write illustrates. Make it a little bit more complicated.
Why?
Okay, shows. Shows what? Look at. Okay, you don't know what it shows, right? You look at the topic. It shows what? The diagram illustrates the process of lithography, a method used for printing newspapers. So that's what it shows. But you need to rewrite it. Don't write the same thing. You need to rewrite it using your own words. Don't write the same thing as the topic. The topic is the diagram illustrates the process of lithography, a method used for printing newspapers, right? You explain that line in your own words. Yeah, can be. Go on. Explain that line in your own words. Done. Right. And then I will text you the next one. Okay? Let me see. The diagram shows a process called lithography. It's a method for printing newspaper. It's fine. Not so bad. Let me see. Still some more. Go on, guys. Alright, finished, right? Now, next one. What should we do? Look. You see, look at some useful phrases for process tasks. First, we only use the first line, right? The diagram or the flow chart illustrates or shows something, and you only write the topic sentence in your own words already, right? Now, the next thing. The next slide is that each picture represents the stage in the process of. Here we only have one big picture, so we don't need to use that. Okay? Let's look at line number 3. There are, maybe number of stages. Maybe there are 3 stages, 4 stages to this process. And normally they say beginning with and ending with. Okay, that's good. You can use that. So let's say how many stages here, or how many type of rollers do you use here? Yeah.
And 2 rollers.
Or for example, here they don't have very clear stages. Then you don't need that. But at least you have to say like beginning with something and ending in something, right? How does it start and how does it end? How does it start? How does this process start? At the beginning, how does it start?
It starts with a very, just a normal one sheet of paper.
No, first we need a press plate, right? An image is transferred to a press plate, and that press plate runs through the whole process, through many rollers like that, and in the end you have a printed image, right? And the image is printed onto paper. So you just need to say the first step and also the last one. What do you have? Like at the beginning of the process, what you need, and at the end, what do you have? That's it. Now write it in your own words. Here, unluckily, they don't have something like press plate, but you need that one. It's very important. Without a press plate, they don't know how it works. Okay?
Papa,
What?
you write it in the body.
No, that's not in the body. It's still in the introduction. The first thing, what do we have, and then the last thing, what we have right now. How it starts, how the process starts.
The process starts with a
No, the dampening rollers or something should be in the body. No, it starts with the image is transferred onto a press plate. That's how it starts. Yeah. I just can say like the general thing, the general idea for you. Like first of all, you have the image or the thing you want to print. Okay, you have the content or something. Now you transfer that type of image or content onto a press plate. That's the first step. And then you let that press plate goes through several rollers before printing that type of image onto papers. Okay? So you need to explain that one, you need to write that. First of all, the image is transferred to the press plate first. Because first of all, the press plate has nothing, you understand? The press plate at the beginning it has nothing. You need one image of the content on the press plate. Thường mà nó bắn laser hay gì nha bạn, rồi trong cái đĩa, yes, rồi trong cái đĩa aluminium press plate đó. Okay. No. The image is it's transferred to a press plate, and then that press plate will go through the whole process here. Go through several rollers here. Okay. And then you have the printed paper. Just write that in your own words. a breastplate. We call it breastplate. Yeah. And then I can say that breastplate goes through several rollers, like in the diagram. Okay. Don't worry, it's just right. Maybe next time we will show you maybe a band A or band 9 line essay. Done? Finished? Yeah? No. This only has ending with printed image. Bỏ cái which will be delivered, which will be delivered rồi hỏi chữ us thì nghe mấy cái chữ us thì trong him hơi nghe trời ơi nó chú quá, bỏ cái đó đi. Mình học passive quá trời rồi đâu có để xuất hiện mấy cái đó nữa. Okay, so after that you already explained the first step, what you see at the beginning and what you have at the end, and now you can go now and you start writing the body, alright? The image is not printed, transferred. We don't have any printed thing that transfer. You don't know how to write transferred? Transferred. You transfer from this to that. Okay. Is transferred. Okay. What do we have? The image is transferred onto the breastplate. There were several rollers before having it printed. Okay, fine. Okay. Nè, thầy nói đây, giờ cái gì vậy? How to read this evidence of the picture. Gì trời? Nó không có, cái này cái câu này con diễn giải cái ý đây đúng không? Rồi sau khi diễn giải xong thì con phải nói sơ sơ là cái process này nè, nó bắt đầu từ đâu và nó kết thúc ở đâu, tạo cái sự hấp dẫn cho người đọc. Nó bắt đầu từ cái việc mà có một cái breastplate mà tức là hình ảnh hay là nội dung sẽ được truyền vào cái breastplate đó, vào cái đĩa, vào một cái tấm bằng kim loại đó, rồi có bằng nhôm nha. Ok. Xong rồi hình ảnh hay nội dung sẽ được truyền cái tấm bằng nhôm đó, xong cái tấm breast, nó gọi là breastplate đó sẽ đi qua rất là nhiều cái roller ở đây và cuối cùng nó sẽ in ra được tờ báo. Thì mình nói cái khúc đầu bắt đầu với cái gì, khúc cuối mình có cái gì để tạo sự hấp dẫn cho người đọc nhé. Và cái đó vẫn nằm trong introduction này, chấm viết tiếp chứ không xuống hàng đâu. Việt Nam finish. Đúng rồi, nhưng mà cái rồi không, đừng có đem nó đi vô là này chưa rồi. Cái này vẫn là trên instruction nha. Tức là cái mình sơ sơ giới thiệu cho ta biết là bắt đầu là bằng cái hình ảnh á, hay nội dung được đưa vô cái breastplate này nói là đưa cái tấm kim loại này, vừa có hình nhôm, được không? Và sau đó cái tấm đó mình sẽ nói thì nói ngắn gọn nó tắt là cái tấm nó sẽ đi qua rất nhiều cái roller ở đây, đúng không? Và cuối cùng nó cho mình sản phẩm gì? Đó là nó bảo cái hình ảnh đó hay nội dung nó được in ra một cái tờ giấy, đúng không? Thì mình phải nói trên cái introduction này. Còn cái vụ mà dampening roller này là hướng cái body rồi nha. Tiếp ở đây đi. Yeah. Rồi. Đoạn này xong rồi không? Rồi xong rồi. Đoạn này xong chưa? Cái gì dựa vô cái bút vô cái assistant kịp chạy. No, trời ơi, cái gì vậy? Đầu tiên mình phải giới thiệu coi cái này tại vì giống gì đây chứ. Chưa cái introduction mà. Đầu tiên mình phải nói là cái diagram này nó show ra cái diagram này nó muốn biểu diễn cái gì cái đã, thì đầu tiên mình sẽ bắt đầu bằng câu này nè. Mình nói là the diagram illustrates and show cái gì, thì mình đọc cái câu topic này là nó show cái gì đây. The process of lithography method printing newspaper, đúng không? Nhưng mình không được viết câu này ra, mình phải diễn đạt cái câu đó, cái ý đó bằng cái từ vựng của mình. Đó, cái đó là cái câu đầu tiên trong phần mở bài. Tiếp theo trong phần mở bài đó chúng ta sẽ nói là trong cái quy định này nó bắt đầu từ đâu và kết thúc nó sẽ có cái gì. Ok, nó bắt đầu từ đâu, nó đi qua cái gì, nó sẽ có cái gì. Rồi nói chung ngắn gọn nhanh chóng thôi, thì đó chính là introduction. Ok, còn mấy cái dampening và mấy cái có bài này kêu kiểu á thì cái đó là trong body rồi, thì chưa thấy introduction mà đâu đợi có body trời. Cũng được, nhưng mà có một chút như này một xíu giống như này nó đó là có ở trên introduction đó thì mình nói tổng quan cho người ta biết là trong cái diagram này mình đang nói gì, bắt đầu cái gì và cuối cùng có sản phẩm gì, rồi xong sau đó mình mới xuống body mình mới lại viết xong. Thì cái đó là trong introduction. Nếu introduction các bạn tự tưởng với cái trailer phim vậy đó, cái trailer phim để làm cho nó hấp dẫn thì người ta mới coi phim nhé. Cái trailer tự nhiên bữa nay tôi sẽ chiếu phim về thằng này nghe hết phim, người ta không có coi nữa, và phải làm sao cho hấp dẫn cái introduction lên thì người ta mới đọc dưới chứ nhé. Go on. So finished. Yeah, that's good. You have an introduction. Để con chưa có lòng bên đâu anh ơi. Để viết gì rồi. Mới vô sai cái bản về diagram là số nhiều. Rồi đất quỷ thần ơi, gì vậy? Lại dampening roller nữa, nãy giờ thì nói quá trời không có nghe gì hết trơn. Cái câu này là được rồi nè, nhưng mà có sai cái mắt nó làm bên nhà ý thì nó ý là đầu tiên mình giới thiệu là cái process, cái diagram nó biểu diễn, đúng không? Xong sau đó ngay trên introduction đó mình phải nói cái tổng quan là nó bắt đầu từ đâu, nó bắt đầu từ một cái hình ảnh được truyền vào trong một cái press đây là một cái tấm bằng kim loại đó, thường bằng nhôm. Xong sau đó cái hình ảnh đó nó sẽ cái tấm nó sẽ đi qua rất nhiều cái roller, một số cái roller, và cuối cùng sản phẩm mình có là gì, là cái hình ảnh nó được in lên giấy, hay là cái tờ giấy được in ra, tờ báo được in ra, đúng không? Thì ở trên mình phải nói trên introduction, và xuống dưới á, mình bắt đầu phải xuống hàng mình mới viết cái phần body sau. Từ đó mình phải nói dampening rollers hay là cái gì đó là xuống dưới, ok? Chứ cái này là khúc dưới rồi, sao nhét lên trên introduction vậy? Introduction các bạn chỉ chung tổng quan, các bạn không có chi tiết này, không có đưa một thằng nào chi tiết của introduction hết á. Introduction chỉ là trailer thôi.
Trailer.
Yeah. Finish. Rồi sau khi xong cái phần introduction các bạn xuống cái phần body Now we move on to the body, right? So you will explain the first, second, that you the entire process. So first, now you have the breastplate, right? So where the breastplate goes. So first of all, the breastplate is passed through dampening rollers. And what happened there? You need to explain. Okay, and then it goes to and second, the plate passes through a set of ink rollers. What happened there? So you have to explain step by step like that. Okay. Now you go down and then you start with the word first, and then you say the plate, the breastplate will go through what? Okay. Do that.
What's the breastplate?
Yeah, first, the breastplate is passed through dampening rollers. Okay? Yeah. First, the plate goes through dampening rollers here. And then you explain all of the steps there. So that's your body. Okay? Con cũng được nhé. Rồi, xuống với cái body đi. Để tả từng cái step của nó. Alright guys, alright, that's it for today.